Hi, welcome everybody. This is Pro Stratus. Today we're going to be talking about Office 365 SharePoint. We're going to get started in just 1 second here. Okay, well, welcome everybody. We're going to go ahead and kick it off. Today we're going to be going over Office 365 SharePoint. This is part of our Office 365 series. We'll be, doing these webinars on a monthly basis, kind of one on Office 365, one on security, and hopefully everybody enjoys it, learns a little bit. Any feedback from this content is certainly, appreciated. So we're going to go in today and just kind of walk through Office 365, SharePoint. There's a lot of questions around SharePoint. It's actually one of the more powerful apps in the Office 365. So we're going to go ahead and get started and walk through some of the features, how to use it, where to find it, how to design it. So sit back and hopefully everybody enjoys the show here. So the first thing that I want to talk about really is, well, besides the agenda here, is the overview, how to access the design types and how to use. But I always like to start out with an Office 365 overview. So this is your standard business standard package, which has a suite of apps in it. Most of these, hopefully, people have heard about and use quite often. Things like Outlook, Word, Excel, PowerPoint. But the big thing on this slide, I just want to get everyone to stop thinking about these as individual applications and really start thinking of as Office 365 as an ecosystem. Um, and what I mean by that is once you get information inside one of these apps, it's really shared between multiple applications. So it's becoming more of an ecosystem than a group of individual applications. So that's really one of the big takeaways, and that makes it very powerful and very easy to share and do things with, and reduces multiple entries and all kinds of good stuff to help out with productivity. But really, just to let everybody know that you have some of the applications that live on your workstation, things that we recommend like Outlook, Word, Excel, PowerPoint. Those are things that you really want to have installed on your desktop or laptop. They just run faster. They have more feature sets than the cloud version. Most of those over there, like the Outlook, Word, Excel, they all have corresponding web versions or cloud versions as well that you can access through office.com. So just, for example, Word, you have it downloaded on your computer, and then, your files are there, but you also can access Word on office.com. It's got less features and a little slower, but you can certainly, still function the program quite nicely from there. Some of these programs, and the one specifically we're going to talk about today, SharePoint and OneDrive, they are 100% in the cloud. So we're going to talk about how to find them and how to, make it appear like they're on your computer. But that's one of the big advantages of SharePoint and OneDrive, is that they really live in the cloud. That means your files are accessible wherever you want them. It could be on your mobile phone, it could be on your home computer, your work computer. If you're traveling somewhere, you can always have access to your files. That's what makes it so great. So the biggest problem that a lot of people have is actually finding them on their computer, and we'll kind of walk through that here today. So just a big overview commercial for Office 365. Some of these applications here, obviously Outlook is your email, your calendar, your activities. Teams We've done several sessions on Teams. It's mostly your, video conference communication, chat, collaboration tool. Um, OneDrive, a lot of people get OneDrive and SharePoint confused, and we'll have a comparison slide between those two. But OneDrive's really your personal hard drive up in the sky. It's where you want to keep your files and your documents on OneDrive. And SharePoint is really where you want to put content that is going to be shared with a team or a group. It's got the name share right in it, so it's very easy to remember. If you want to have a lot of documents or material that's intended to be used by a group, a team, or your whole organization, then SharePoint is usually the best place to find that. Um, the planner and project manager, Microsoft project is a great task and tool system. We'd love to do another session on that one. And then OneNote is really just simulates like having a notebook, a digital notebook. What I found is people either love this or don't use it at all. So great way to kind of keep track of tasks and those types of things. All right, so the very first question is just really how to access SharePoint, and I want to spend a little bit of time on this because I really feel like there's an inside and an outside method to get here. And just FYI, we're going to go through a few slides and then we'll jump right over to SharePoint. So I'll kind of demo some of this as well. But this is probably the most confusing thing, and the thing that is the hardest thing to overcome. That's why I wanted to start here. Is SharePoint is just how to find the darn thing, and there's really two different ways to get there. One is the inside, and the other way is the outside. And I want to kind of walk through exactly what that means, because I think if you solve this, then it's going to make using SharePoint a whole lot easier and a whole lot more friendly, and really allow your organization to adopt it and be able to find these files that they want to access. So the first thing I want to jump into is the inside method, and really it's like, how can we get to the files that we really need in sort of the traditional file explorer method? And people are used to clicking on their file explorer, seeing their C drive, or if you had a server, the S drive or whatever you name it, and being able to click through and find their files that way. People are very comfortable with that and very used to that, and that's sort of an inside method to find the files that you're looking at. So SharePoint can very much just be a folder file structure, pretty much to replace your traditional file server. So if you have a file server or have used a file server before, it works exactly the same way. You would go down to your file explorer. You see your C drive here. These are some other things that you may have mapped, but you'll just definitely have one just called, shared document, SharePoint. You can name this different things, but the example here is just shared documents. And then you would click on this and expand it, and then you would be able to see your traditional file structure that you're used to. You could have those different folders and different buckets, and be able to find everything very much like you do have maybe in the past. So this is one thing that you have to have your PC mapped to do this. It's not a terribly difficult function, but a lot of people, what we recommend is people to have both their OneDrive mapped on here and their SharePoint mapped on their traditional file explorer. It just helps your user find these files quicker, faster. They kind of know the directory, the tree. They can go in here and just find them. So here's just another example of this inside of a file explorer, where we have the OneDrive mapped out here for your personal files. And then right here, these have been renamed, just says Red Spot Solutions, but this could be anything you wanted, and have your SharePoint files and your directory trees just show up on here, and then your PC here. So very easy to find it. If you don't have this, users get confused very quickly if they don't have this. This is sort of if you're used to this file explorer thing, it's sort of one easy thing that you got to have mapped out. And if there are any customers on here today of ours, we'll certainly help you walk through that process pretty easily. The other way is from the inside is just to use a traditional application. This is Word. You just open it up and already inherently, you're going to be able to see that you can upload or save files directly to either a OneDrive or a list of sites. So if I was to click on this sites button, it would bring up multiple, we happen to have multiple SharePoint sites. So you would click on this and you'll be able to save that directly in the directory of your choice. Works pretty much like, your traditional C drive. Same thing when you go to save a file, if you're in Excel or Word and you want to save or save as, you would just, go down here and find, browse and then find the list of your SharePoint sites and the directory that you want to put in. So this is another method, if you're working in an application, that you can save the file directly to a SharePoint application. So those are the kind of the two inside methods. The outside method is a little bit different, and there's a couple of different ways to get there. And one is like sort of your 911. If you can't find a SharePoint site and you just get confused at where everything's at, visit office.com. And when you go there, you'll be prompted for your login. It uses the exact same credentials for your Office 365. It is your Office 365 credentials. You log in to your screen. It gives you a list of all your applications. Find this little grid section up here. When you click on it, it'll bring up a list of applications, and then you select SharePoint and you're off and running. So this is a way from the outside, and this, you can do it while you're at work if you want. You can do it, from any browser, from your phone, from your work, or from your home, from when you're traveling. As long as you have your Office 365 credentials, you can get to your SharePoint sites from the outside, directly from Office 365. So another way, a couple of different ways here, and we'll demo one of these here in a few seconds here, actually, is just to create a desktop shortcut. So this is a method early on I did, is just having an icon right on your desktop makes it really fast. You just click on it, boom, it opens up your SharePoint, and you're off and running. Another way is to use a bookmark. And you just take the bookmark and save it in your browser to be able to find it. So the nice thing about it is if you have multiple SharePoint sites, or these pathways are unique, so you can create bookmarks. Maybe I don't know, in finance, and you have monthly reports. You can find that URL directly into that directory and do a bookmark for that. You can do a bookmark for your main page. So you can have multiple bookmarks to be able to get to places in SharePoint very quickly, if that helps you out. So this is another way, is just to create a bookmark in here to be able to find, to get into your SharePoint site. All right, so now that we found SharePoint, let me just talk a little bit about the design types and the applications, really, of what most people use it for. First is really, I just wanted to describe sort of the use cases or the architecture, if you will. There's really two different methodologies that people use SharePoint sites for. And when you go to create a new SharePoint site, it actually asks you which one you want to use. One is a team site and one is a communication site. And really the team site, and there's nothing wrong with having one or both, or one or the other. A lot of people have both sites. They use them for different aspects. A team site is really, I want to call it a microsite. It's a smaller group of individuals that want to share and collaborate information. Generally, it's a lot of people might do it by department. Like maybe you have a marketing SharePoint site, or a finance SharePoint site, or a customer service SharePoint site, and it's really built for collaboration. Generally, everybody who's invited to that site sort of has edits and collaboration rights to it. You can lock it down and limit what people can do, but what we've seen a lot of times when you have a team site, let's say it's an engineering site, that's where you go to, post all your engineering diagrams or videos or how-to guides, and people can sort of collaborate or add or remove a very active site, and it's really based on a specific focus of your business. So these are quick to create. They're generally secured by allowing access to specific individuals, but once you're in there, everybody's sort of equal. You ultimately have one or two owners. You can have different rights, but generally people can kind of do and collaborate and add fairly freely. And communication site is really for a larger site, and it's one that you want to communicate out to a larger group, and maybe your whole organization, for example. And this is generally a little bit more controlled. Um, this is where you would set up a site, and then you would really limit or lock down rights. So maybe you have areas that people can collaborate, but then you have other areas that people can just view or download. They can't delete or edit or add. That way you could control the communication and monitor what's actually happening in there. So we'll show you a couple examples of this, but this is really the two basic ways to be able to use it as either a team site or communication site. I did want to just talk real quick about the SharePoint admin. It's sort of like this magic box. There's a ton of stuff that actually goes into SharePoint that you never actually see. And that's really in the admin area. You can get to it, but like if you're doing stuff with Teams or some of the Loop components in Office, or if you're doing the planner, a lot of those files are actually going to be saved into SharePoint. They're really kind of hidden. I mean, you can get to them, but they're not really built to collaborate, that type of thing. But the Office 365 does use SharePoint a lot for centralized records. If you use forms and people submit those forms, they all write to an Excel spreadsheet. That Excel spreadsheet is written technically into SharePoint. It's all sort of a back end thing. But I didn't want to kind of glance over that. I just wanted you to be aware that there is actually an admin area into the SharePoint that's hooked into a lot of things that you do for Office 365. So here's a nice overview of kind of what I just talked about. The OneDrive is my stuff, your personal hard drive. It's the stuff that you're working on. Probably the biggest benefit of that is privacy. Things that are important to you. You can share out of that, but it's really meant to do it sort of on a short-term temporary basis. Like, hey, I got this document, take a look at it before I send it out. It's not the best place to share things with a big group for sure. It's really hard to manage your shares over time for that. But the team site right here is just a summary of kind of what I just said. Is the smaller groups and a lot of collaboration in a team site, and then the communication is the everybody's stuff. It's where you want to post your larger pieces of communication, and you want to sort of control that so it doesn't accidentally get deleted, or other things get posted that's not really intended for the larger group. Just another overview of how to structure a SharePoint site. This is sort of you could actually look at this in creating a team site for engineering or finance, and invite individuals, have a bunch of folders and directories and that type of thing, and just break it down by department. Or you could really use this as a model for a communication site, but you would have different sections inside that communication site that you might want to limit access. So you could have a communication site, for instance, that only finance people that were in that certain group could get into the finance section inside that for their communication. So this is just a little visual here to help you think through about maybe how to map out a SharePoint site. All right, so how to use SharePoint site. So we're gonna turn this off here for a second and just get into SharePoint and kind of walk you guys around on here. All right, so the first thing I want to show you on here, hopefully everybody's got my screen here, is here's the SharePoint. I just created a little SharePoint icon here, and you click that. Actually, it started up on the other screen. So this is a SharePoint site right here. Let me just take you into what I'm going to call the SharePoint portal. So this is the main SharePoint portal, and all these down here are individual SharePoint sites. This is a great example of team sites that we were talking about, although we do have one communication site inside here. So there's all kinds of different things on here, the different icons in here. Once again, if you get lost in here, if you can find your way back, just to click on SharePoint, it always brings you back here. Remember, this is your grid that kind of shows all the applications again. And here are different things that, you have your start, your sites that you belong to, some news, some files. If you want to look at some of the files that you put on SharePoint, that makes it easy to find. And you can actually add different menus over here. Any of the SharePoint sites that you're following, see these stars right here? If you decide that you want to follow a certain site, you can add it on here. That way it's up here on the top, number one, but number two, if you use the news function and somebody posts something, it'll actually send you an update via email or Teams. And, let's say, I don't know, you post a new vacation or a holiday schedule, then it would just blast out to everybody who's following a certain SharePoint site. So that's kind of a neat feature on that. But this is your basic overview on here. And then these are individual sites. So we're going to go ahead and just sort of pop in one. And the first one is really super boring, and I did it on purpose. It's just the marketing SharePoint. It's actually blank. And one of the things I just want to demo real quick, because I just learned this last week. I think it's really cool. We had that one to get us in the main SharePoint, but if you want to bookmark this, check out this little trick. You can just sort of grab this icon. I never knew really what this did, but just kind of pull it off here. And then it just creates a shortcut right there. And it makes it super easy. That'll work on any website, but that's a good way to sort of bookmark these things if you so desired. Anyway, this is the marketing website, and there's really not a whole lot going on in here. And the reason why is a lot of times people just use SharePoint for a file directory, and you could certainly map it into your Explorer if you like. But in here, if you click on Documents, it'll just bring up the document folder right inside here. So these are just folders that have been created, and then each folder, we have, individual files and then more folders. So you can go down here and then click in here and find, what you're looking for. And then once you find that, you can, double click it to open it up, and maybe it's a Word file. You could actually work on it while it's in SharePoint, or, maybe you want to grab this and, download it. You could go here and download it. And, if you want to add something on here, there's this nice new button that you can, bring in. If you want to add a new folder, for example, you can go ahead and create a new folder inside here. And now you have a new folder, right? So you can actually upload new folders. You could drag and drop. There's several different ways that you can add them in here. Here's an example, just uploading a file. You can grab that in here and just grab any folder that you like, and then add it into. So very easy to kind of maneuver. If you kind of have this little directory tree up here that kind of keeps you from getting lost. But this is a very typical, folder structure. A lot of people just like to use SharePoint to manage their folders and files. Nothing wrong with that. But over here on the side, you have this document button. Sorry, that's going to take us out to OneNote. Sorry about that. Let's hop back into that. Has the documents in here, and it just brings up your directory structure. If you want to go to a different SharePoint site, once again, you would, hop back into SharePoint and then select another one. One other thing, just on a team site is just to control, who gets access to it. And over here, you have the members and it lists the members who have access to it. You can see that I'm an owner of this site and means that I have rights to permissions and to invite other folks to it. You can have regular members on here and you can promote them to an owner, or you could remove them from a group, or you can certainly add somebody to a group as well. If they're in your directory already, you can just grab them and then it will send them an invite. And now they have access into that entire marketing group. So very easy to be able to grab those and manage access into that. So there's a whole lot here that we can do with it. I'm going to add the other thing too is over here on the documents is probably one of the most used features is if you would like to, share this folder, this file with somebody, you can click on these little icons on here. There's a ton of different things you can do. You can copy the link and send it to somebody, open it, preview it. So there's all kinds of things you can do for that. There is a sharing feature. So you can go ahead and just pick somebody in here that you might want to be able to share this to. It might send a little link and says, looks like it's going to allow that. Anyway, Rachel just got an email that said that I shared that with her, so she can click on that and get access to it. It may end up on the security side. When she clicks on that link, it may say, "Hey, you don't have rights to that," which means we may have to go back here and actually add her into this group on that. So be aware of that security feature. That's something you could do in the setup of it if you allow the shares to happen inside of a directory or not. Let's just take a look at another SharePoint site over here. One right here is just automation. This is one that's got a little bit filled out, not a whole lot in here, but you can see it's not blank. We still have the directory over here on the left. We can click on that and it will bring up a list of folders in here. If you go back here to this site, you can see that we've included a little activity panel. We have a news section. We have another directory panel over here for documents. So quick links and some other little demo things that we just kind of put in here. So you can design this out. It's sort of a mix between technology and a marketing skill, I think. But let's just go ahead and jump back over to sort of that blank one that we had over here on that marketing, and just kind of walk through kind of how easy it is to do this. It's really, when you create a SharePoint, it's really like creating a web page. It's like an internal web page. Now you can certainly do it without using any HTML and using the built-in tools right in SharePoint. You don't need to know any coding, although you can go off the board and use and customize. And some larger companies, they kind of have marketing companies come in and vamp this thing up for them. But it's very easy to edit. This is the marketing is blank. Literally go over here and click on this edit button, and you're off and running. So this is you can add sections on here. And when you go inside of a section, you get this little plus down button. So that's really, if you can kind of keep those two things straight, that's, I don't want to say all you need to know, but those are the two big things to add. So add a section. Once you're in a section, you can add, different things in here. So I'm going to click on this. This is a one panel section right here. I can go in here and change that to have it multiple panels. But one of the very first things I like to do is click on this hero button. It's kind of cool, but it's sort of gives it a little bit of an image. And then we could go out here and I'm just going to grab some stock images to insert inside here to start this, to make this look kind of good on here. So you can build this out, and you don't have to use this. This is just something that I see a lot of people do initially. One more second to click on a few more of these. You could bring in your own images. You don't have to use these stock images. You can just import anything that you like. We'll go ahead and fill this out all the way just to make it look nice on here. So now you have this kind of dynamic thing. We'll publish it here in a second, but what you can do here now is we got this learn more button and we got this hands in thing here. You can actually go in and edit this one tile now. And then right now there's a link right here. Remember, you can point it basically anywhere you want in SharePoint or Office 365 for that matter. I could point it to a form. I could point it to OneDrive. I could point it, to a website. There's lots of different things in here. So I'm just going to see what I do here. Oh, it's asking here. I want to do it from a link. So I'm just going to type in, I'm just going to use an external link right here. So you can go ahead and add it. And now when people come to this, they're going to click on this. It'll actually reroute them to our web page. So you can map these to whatever you want. You can take it and change it to a document. So let me see. We'll just link it to this tech tip video call. So now when people do that, but you could link it to, oh, there's Joe. You can link it to, I don't know, a manual, a policy, schedule, whatever you wanted to, however you wanted to use these things, you could use them. So we'll just kind of jump in here and I just want to show you a couple of the things in here. I use these a lot, quick links. These are other navigation tips that you could go in here and basically do the exact same thing I showed you, but without a picture. You can change this icon over here. You can make them different sizes as well to give you a lot of different links on here. So you have the ability to create a URL or any navigation tool that you want in here and certainly rename them. But there's like a ton of stuff in here. There's images. If you want to, I don't know, attach a YouTube video, you could do that. You just need to drop the URL of the video inside here and maybe want to, give everybody a little message from your CEO or something or your president. You could do that. There's all kinds of different things in here. This is another thing that sometimes people like to republish their document libraries. So this is, so now instead of clicking on the documents on the side, now we put this document right inside of our main page to kind of help people out. There's a call to action button. So anyway, this is basically where you want to go to do that. There's a cool weather pattern. There's a cool time countdown thing in here. There's events that you want to put in here. You can kind of see that it's very easy to be able to do that. There's forms you can build out. So basically this is all you have to do to edit. Now, when you're done, kind of, I don't want to say, doing your thing there, just go up here. Right now you can see this, but when I go in here, I'm going to republish the page. As soon as I do that, now it's going to be available for everyone to use. So everybody that comes to this page now will be able to interact with that. So if they click on this, they're going to go see a picture of Joe, and it'll be functional, from that standpoint. And that's kind of a basic 101 of how to do that. If you decide like, oh, that was crazy, I don't really like that, just go in here and click on this. And then you could delete these things. If you want to add a new section and do, say, 3 columns, and then once you do that, then click inside that area to create maybe an image. Then you go in here and hit stock and then grab this picture here and then upload it in here. So it's very easy to get in here and kind of like design your page, the way that you would like to. So sky's the limit really on how you want to do that. I just want to show you another example of sort of our communication site. And this is one that it's more static. We just post things that we want to have here for long periods of time. And share out to the entire team. So in here, we have the holiday schedule. This is all static. Notice I got rid of the menu on the left just to make it a little cleaner. If you were to click on the holiday schedule, it's literally going to open up a document for you on that. But you could put that on here. Onboarding a new customer, we use a form, and then we use it to create tickets and send out emails to everybody. This is just something that we use on our site that's easy. We broke this down into resource pages, so everybody has access to this. They can't edit or change it, but they certainly have access to it. So we click on that. We got that little hero board, documents, and then some other tables that we've added inside here as well. I do have this navigation where I click on here. It always takes me back to the home page. And then down here are some private pages. So these are pages that only people that are authorized can get in here. So this is, marketing and projects and security and that type of thing. Only their team members can get in here. Notice it looks like there's only 2 members available on the site. All the security is handled in the back end and lockdown. So you have control over who has access to what. So that's kind of the overview of Office 365 on here. I do want to throw up one slide here just as an additional FYI, just some other upcoming events. We're doing these series. Next up in April, Mastering the CMMC Compliance. That's a deep dive in the new government regulations and mandates. If you want to do business with the government, all the security stuff you need. If you don't do business with the government, it's just really good to kind of see all the regulations and security compliances, and it's going to hit you maybe one way or the other, maybe through cyber security insurance or something like that, but it gives you a preview of everything that's involved in that. If you're local here in Springfield, we are having a Food Truck Friday. Come on out. If you attended this, we're going to send you an invite on April 19th. We're going to have a food truck here and have a good time with that. And then we've been going out to these cybersecurity conferences. We were in Tampa 2 weeks ago. We're in Raleigh, I think on Thursday, and then St. Louis on April 25th. So we're in this network of conferences talking about cybersecurity and giving presentations and learning a little bit while we're there. So just a few commercials on there. So I don't know if there's anything on here. I'm going to just check real quick. I don't know, Doris, if we had any. I don't know. We had that on. If we had any Q&A that happened to come into the channel, we hopefully had that feature on, but I don't see anything on here. So I know we're kind of running up here on time, with that. So I'm going to go ahead and conclude this presentation today. So if you have any questions on this, feel free to email us. We'll certainly send up a correspondence to everybody on here. If there's some question you had that you maybe didn't get to ask, certainly love to chat with you on, any questions that you have, or certainly help you, get your SharePoint set up. So anyway, that's it for ProStratus. Thanks for everybody for attending, and hopefully everybody has a great day.